Mitch is here.
Oh, Mitch, good. You're ready.
That's the question. Am I ready? Welcome, everyone. Tomorrow is colonoscopy day for me. I tried to get out of it, but I haven't gotten out of it. I have avoided it for the last 3 or 4 years. So why am I coming on to my live stream to talk about a colonoscopy? My good friend, one of my previous mentors, Tom Matson, taught me something that has stuck with me. There are lots of things that Tom and at the time his partner Frank were working on with me, but one of the things that Tom always said was, always ask, how does this apply to me? It's a great question. It's something that many of us don't even think about. Let's suppose you're on a live stream watching Bradley Waldrop and I do our podcast. First question, and let me just say, maybe the topic isn't something that you necessarily think applies to you. Tom Matson always said to me, Mitch, how does this apply to you? Think about how it applies. And so many times we are not learning the lessons that either history has taught us or that are right in front of our face because we're distracted or we're paying attention to something else. And holy cow, there are so many things that you can learn from what other people are doing, from what you see right in front of you, and of course, from the lessons that you're going through yourself. I see that our good friend Claudia is here. Thank you, Claudia, for popping in. Claudia says, so true. We need to sell them on the idea that is worth their time. Yeah. Is a colonoscopy worth your time? Of course, Claudia is a health individual, health-based, and I know this topic probably rang her bell. I sent out an email this morning. I changed the topic of this program is it's time for your colonoscopy. But, so applying what Tom has taught me, I'm going to make this comment go away one way or the other. Tomorrow's my colonoscopy. What can I learn and how can I apply it to my business? Colonoscopy is not something that you would normally think of as applying to your business. But we're going to talk today about a lot of the lessons that I have learned. This is my second time going through the colonoscopy. And the last time that I did it, and I was trying to remember the date, I probably could look it up, but the last time that I did it, the preparation was different. And so I started talking yesterday. My daughter just had a colonoscopy a couple of weeks ago. And let's see, I bet this is Steven. It says Facebook user. Let me come over to my Facebook thing and refresh it, because I know we're live. I know you people are popping in, so I must be live everywhere. And, oh, that was Deborah. Hi, Deborah. Speaking of health, I won't go into Deborah's topics because those are her personal topics, but I know she's got several health struggles recently. And look at this. She's appearing on today's show. Yeah, gotta take care of your tool. Well, that was my final message for the day. Don't neglect your health is my final message. It's written right here on my notes. It's a lesson that I've learned recently, and I'm not the kind of person that hides my health issues. I have too much weight. If those of you who watch me, my face is heavier. Deborah says, I'm watching from my recovery bed. Well, again, I'm glad to have you here, Deborah. Thank you for popping in. Siddharth is here, by the way. This is Siddharth over on Facebook. They're all popping into my thank you page magic group. So I'm just so you know, if you haven't watched me recently, right now, let's go back to Claudia's comment. Notice the little icon in the lower left-hand corner. That's the left over there. Well, over there, it's right there. But as she's coming to you from YouTube, and Facebook is Deborah and Siddharth. So they're coming in from Facebook. You can see the icons there. But I'm broadcasting on Twitch. I turned off the Telegram thing because I wasn't even sure it was working, and I know nobody was watching. But Twitch, Twitter, YouTube, and several Facebook groups, as well as my Facebook profile, I'm using a tool called Ecamm to make that happen. Ecamm combined with Restream. So Restream is sending the same stream out to multiple places. Why am I doing that? Well, I'm trying to get my message out to as many places as possible, right? I want as many people to see it and pop in if they happen to be using those tools at that time. So, anyway, that was a side distraction. But the idea, of course, is we have got to take care of our health. I have been doing a really lousy job of that. And this does apply to business, right? If you can't function well, you can't run your business well. And so I'm 65, just got on Medicare, and just between you and me and the universe, I put off a whole bunch of health stuff until I got on Medicare. Now, if you're outside the United States, Medicare is the universal health care, the stuff that everybody gets access to. But in the United States, it only starts when you get to be 65. You can start earlier if you have some issues, but 65 is the magic date. So I turned 65 in May, and bingo, bango, here I am on Medicare. Now, it's not cheap. It's cheaper than if I were paying for insurance for myself. But the insurance that I had before had a $7,000 deductible. Can't even say it. Deductible. And so what that meant was that I was responsible for majority of costs up until I reached $7,000. So not only was I paying monthly to get insurance, but I had a lower insurance rate because I was willing to accept any emergency kinds of finances. And there were 2 or 3 years that I actually ran into that $7,000 top limit, which is painful to your finances. So I am not unusual, and I'm not preaching here about politics or anything else, but we've all heard stories of people that are reducing their health care and suffering because of the politics of not having universal health care in the United States. I'm very happy to be on Medicare. So part of my life is now I'm going to take care of them, which is horrible, right? It's a rotten thing to be going, okay, now that I'm on this other insurance plan, I can take better care of myself. I have a knee that needs replacing. Deborah knows all about knee replacements. I have several health issues that need to be taken care of, and I put them all off until I got better insurance coverage that wasn't going to make me go bankrupt. I will also tell you that I am a big fan of routines. This is going to all apply coming up here in the conversation about the colonoscopy. But I am a creature of habit. If I break habits, sometimes that's really bad, depending upon what the habit is. For example, I didn't want to do this live stream today. I have felt really poorly. I've had digestive issues for the last 2 days. I tried to call the doctor yesterday to say, hey, I'm having this trouble. Do we really want to do the colonoscopy thing? Because that's going to flush me out and be, ugh. But she was like, go ahead and do it. Let's find out what's going on inside your gut so that we can fix it if there is something that has to be going on. But I almost said, oh, screw it. I don't want to do this live stream today. I feel really icky. Now I have this thing I don't know why I have to point to it, but those tall white things right there is a series of DVDs from Expert Secrets, which is, God, why am I suddenly not coming up with his name? It's not Russell Brunson. Brendan Burchard. My brain. Anyway, one of the things I remember him talking about in Expert Secrets, which was in 2014, when I went to see him do that, he talked about how you have to present, right? If you are up on stage, if people have paid money to come see you, then you have to just do it. And he talked about one time, and this is his story. I don't know, I'll tell the story, but one time, one of his tricks that he learned while he's up on stage, if he's not feeling well, he gave one example of a really horrible time where he had a podium, and anyway, he had to expel some stuff from his stomach. And he said, well, what he knew he needed to do it, and what he did was he told everybody to close their eyes and to meditate on this topic, and they put on some music in the room, and he turned off his microphone, and he grabbed the trash can that was under the podium and did his business, and then he came back, and I'm like, oh man, that's got to be horrible. I'm not sure I want to do that, something like that. I'm not sure that I can handle that kind of pressure. And I was thinking about that story, and again, how did this apply to me, right? Going back to how we started this, I have this mental thought of, I really don't want to do the show, but at the same time, I know there are people out there who are now, hopefully, expecting me every Tuesday. And so I also know, like I said, I'm a creature of routine. And if I have done things in the past where I was doing a podcast with my good friend Carl Olson, long story, way back in the day. But he and I both agreed that if we didn't do a show one week, we both would fall off the wagon. So even if he was not feeling well, I would go ahead and do the show and vice versa. So we knew we had to keep going. And that's kind of the thing that I know I have to keep going, because otherwise I can very easily get into, it just doesn't matter. Nobody's listening. I'm not making any money doing that live stream thing and blah, blah, blah. So I can easily convince myself to break routines. So, and I also did not have a prepared email to go out today. So an hour before the show, even though I have told myself time and time again in the last 2 months that I'm going to have all the shows for the next couple of months outlined, I walk into today's show an hour before the show with no topic planned. I have no email written. I have no outline for a show. And of course, what does that do? That stresses me out. It causes more stress. It makes me less likely to do it. So one of my lessons that I really want to do better at, and I consistently fail, is preparing. And we're going to talk about the prep process. So I'm sitting there this morning, wrapping this up into a story. Hi, Mark. Mark has a good question. So we're going to get to that in just a second. There's a couple of really good comments coming in. I appreciate you being here, and I appreciate you commenting. And even if you decide to leave, come back next week. Next week is the 4th Tuesday of the month, and next week will be a review show. So on the 2nd Tuesday is case question and answer. The 3rd Tuesday is a presentation. The 4th Tuesday is a review show. So next week's going to be a review show, and everybody loves those. So come back next week. Now, of course, I did that, and I've forgotten my train of thought. But an hour before the show, I'm like, okay, tomorrow's colonoscopy. I haven't gotten out of it. What can I really apply and think about? And I told her that I was talking to my daughter. She had to have one 2 months ago, colonoscopy, because of her current struggle. So I started looking at, and we laughed about this last night. I started looking at the prep they put on the side of the box. And I said to myself, what's different from the last time I did this? Right? We all know that a colonoscopy, at least in the United States, they recommend that starting, I think, at age 50 or 55, you start having a colonoscopy every 5 years, because there's a lot more likelihood that something cancerous or polyps or some of the other things can go on inside your body, and it's better off if you just do a check every 5 years or so than putting it off, because early detection, etc., right? So I was due for a colonoscopy 3 years ago. I've put it off, but I know that I need to get it done, especially since in the last 4 or 5 years, I've been diagnosed with diverticulitis, which is a colon-based illness. I don't need to go all the details, but it ain't fun. So I just decided I'm going to do it, but I'm going to learn some stuff from things that happened the last time. Now, you all know, hopefully, let me go through a couple of these comments. Claudia said, we are our most important asset, which is absolutely true if you don't have your health. And I am more and more scared every day because I know, I'll back up a little bit again. I had a physical, sometimes words, at a physical 2.5 months ago. And I had this list of about 20 things that have been going questionable about my health. And then so I started going through the list with the doctor, and he's like, you got a long list. Like, yeah, I've been putting it all off for a while. But we shouldn't be putting these things off because, as Claudia says, we are our most important asset. And if your health goes to pot, then you can't run your business, which, of course, is one of the things that's nagging on me. And some of you saw that a week ago, this past Saturday, my cat died. He was on my tummy. We usually had a tummy. I would lay down in my chair, my office chair, and he'd jump up on my tummy, and I'd brush him, and we'd take care of stuff. And he came to me because he had really long fur, and he just couldn't lick. Anyway, but he died within 15 minutes of getting off of my tummy. He was just suddenly gone. We had no idea. Don't know whether it was a stroke or a heart attack, and he was 12. It wasn't horribly old, but anyway. So death has been on my brain lately, so there's all these things that are coming through to me, which all relate to the topic that we're talking about. And this was Stephen Hogland. Hi, Stephen. Good morning to you. He also said, if you feel bad, take a break. Quality of life is a top priority. Yes, and it's such a good comment, because one of the things that I have recognized, I was talking earlier about routines. I've gotten into the routine of working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, because I'm the sole financial responsibility for our family. And one of my family members said a couple of weeks ago, well, Dad, what are you doing for fun? What are you doing to get out of that office? And yeah, we can go there as well. But I've gotten into these routines, and it's very habitual. I have the same meal every day for lunch. I have a question. Who thinks the biggest struggle in their day, especially if you're with a family, is what do we eat for dinner? Right? There's this question. And I have both girls home from college now, and all 4 of us, we get together like 4:30 and go, okay, what are we going to do about dinner? We don't have a plan. I wish that we had more plans in our lives, but I'm really bad at planning. Mark, thank you, Mark, for being here. Wish you well. Sorry about losing your cat. Thank you. It is a struggle, and they are a big part of our lives. and I miss him desperately. Brilliant. Claudia says, I got a system for that. What do we eat? Great. Maybe you and I should have a conversation. Because I hate that conversation. The entire family goes, oh, what are we going to do? Because we haven't made a plan. Planning is crucial, right? We always talk about planning for our business. Mark, I'm going to get to your question in just a few minutes because I really don't want to distract it. If you're okay with me, because he asked the question, here's the question. What other traffic sources would you recommend? We'll get to that in just a little bit, if that's okay. So, raise your hand if you've ever had a colonoscopy. Say hi or whatever. I got a real kick out of. So the process is so simple. They put down on this box. Step 1, in the evening before the procedure, complete steps 1 through 4 before going to bed. Deborah raising her hand that she's had one. Complete steps 1 through 4 before going to bed. They make it sound so simple, right? So here's this bottle of stuff, and there are different varieties of this. I'm sorry, I didn't shut off my phone. Different varieties of the prep, but this bottle and this cup, and they say, well, you just pour this into there and you fill it with water and you drink that. Then you go to bed. What they don't tell you is the multiple hours of sitting on the toilet in the bathroom that is coming between this and bed. They just seem to ignore that in the instructions, and that's the part that everybody has the most difficulty with. So my doctor's office, thankfully, they have set up their own pieces of paper with instructions, and they say at the top of this, please follow these instructions, not the ones on the box. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is the good stuff. But they go into a lot more detail. The reason I wanted to talk about this, though, is not the ickiness of the topic, but when I did this, I think it was 7 years ago, they sent you to the pharmacy, and at the pharmacy, they gave you this big, hairy-ass bottle of orange stuff. And it was like 32 freaking ounces, or a lot of fluid. And if you went on YouTube, you saw all these people talking about, oh, this tastes horrible, it's horrible, it's really bad. And there were people that were like, well, you gotta sip it, or you gotta use a straw, or you gotta do this or that to get it down. Now, one of my skills, and my daughter thinks I'm crazy, who did the colonoscopy prep months ago, I guzzled it. I have the ability to just slam it back, regardless of what it tastes like or the consistency, because that stuff was kind of somewhere in the consistency of melted Jell-O, because it was not solid, but it was not just waterish. And so there was a real struggle for many people to get it down. I'm like, I got no problem with that. I can guzzle that. But here's the lesson, right? This is going back to what I was planning to talk about. The lessons are that was daunting. This is a smallish box, and I put it down, but this is a smallish cup, and this is a smallish bottle. Now, some of the preps, which one of the ones my daughter had to do, was that it was powder, and you had to mix the powder with water in a bottle or whatever. Now, to me, what they've done is really smart. Robert Feldman says, I hope your scope turned out. Okay, that's tomorrow. I'm getting scoped tomorrow. It hasn't turned out yet, because I haven't done this part yet. But what did they do? They took. Yeah. Oh, Robert says it's my profession. Really, Robert? How you doing, Robert? The scoping part? Are you the scoper? Anyway, I think it's really smart. What they've done is they've simplified the process. Instead of getting this really big, daunting, large bottle of stuff, they've either given it to you in a powder form or they've given it to you in like this little small bottle and you said mix it in here. And now, by the way, it's 2 days. It's 2 steps, at least in this prep. It's 2 steps. So you do this in the evening, starting at 6 o'clock. And then you do it again tomorrow morning in the hour before, or the hours before, 5 hours or 6 hours or something. I haven't really totally read that. Robert says, I'm a gastroenterologist. Well, good for you, Robert. You're one of the people that I love. So many people say the medical profession's messed up, and I'm sure there are problems, but I am so thankful that we have people like you who are helping out people like me who I hate blood, and I pass out at the sight of blood, and I have all kinds of struggles with medical stuff. So I always say thank you to the medical professionals. Without you, we'd be in big trouble. I can imagine the old days, and we won't go there. But anyway, the point, the business lesson of this is, let's see if I can get rid of that. The business lesson of this is to simplify. They have learned their lessons from the struggles of people in the past. I was there, I was one of them, and they've simplified the process. And this is something that I have had to do, and it's taken me a lot longer to do with Thank You Page Magic than I ever wanted it to. But what I have realized in the last 3 years is that if people don't understand it, if it's not simple, they're not going to do it. They have to know the reason why, right? Everybody knows this colonoscopy is done for a damn good reason. We want to see what's going on before it becomes a problem. That's why some people spend the money and invest in those full body scans, a full CT scan. I actually had a half CT scan back in March because of these struggles that I'm having. And the report came back with, hey, you don't have aneurysms. And my mom had several aneurysms, by the way, in her chest. My dad had heart problems. I do have some of that issue going on, but my kidneys are okay. And I've had, back when I went to that, Richard, God, why am I having so much trouble with his name? Brandon Bouchard event in 2014 was just after I had a full month long of kidney stones, and nobody wants kidney stones. But I've lost my train of thought again. It's so easy to not learn our lessons. Oh, I was talking about the CT scan. That's what it was. So I've found that information has been so helpful, especially when I went to see a vascular surgeon yesterday, and I said, here's the CT results, because he was asking me about my mother's trouble with her heart. I'm like, here's the CT from March, and it shows me there are no aneurysms, so there you go. Figuring out what needs to be done, this is where I was going. Simplifying it, the CT scan results are simplified, right? The prep for the colonoscopy is simplified. I tend to be a fidgeter, by the way. I'm just holding this because I fidget a lot. Hopefully it's not annoying anybody. If it does, I'm sorry, I'll put it down. But in your business, what you need to know is to have a plan, and you need to be able to simplify your processes. I've always hated processes. I tend to be a very free thinker. When I was in software development, I hated checklists. I'm like, I got it all up here. I know what needs to be done, and I'll just do it as I go. Oh, Stephen, I love it. Stephen says, connecting thank you page magic with getting a colonoscopy may not be ideal marketing. I actually thought about that when I was doing the email. Once I figured out what my topic was going to be, I'm like, what could I talk about, and what's going to get people to open the email? Is talking about, or the email subject, for those of you who may not have seen it, was it's time for your colonoscopy, which is the topic I used for this. Deborah, I love you too. Deborah says, excellent braiding though. You're talking about my hair, are you? No. I have woven this together because I have indeed learned so much. Oh, bridging, not braiding, same thing. I knew what you were talking about. But the idea, and by the way, that's also one of my superpowers, I think, to be able to take a life lesson and relate it to something else. If you watch my emails, by the way, I have one coming up that I have written, and I'm just trying to fit it into my mental schedule. It's basically called Grandma and the Porn. It's a great little story. But so look forward to that, and I do turn it around into how that relates to your business. It's one of my superpowers. The key, however, and I said this a few minutes ago, thank you page magic. I started out, for those of you, I don't think any of you have been around. Deborah kind of has been around, I know. 3 years ago, I was sort of branding myself as the giveaway guy. The guy that could help you grow your list through contests and giveaways. Steven says I'm breaking new ground. Yes! Contests and giveaways. I want to be the giveaway guy. And then the more I thought about it was that there is so many people that have this bad feeling about doing giveaways. If you talk to some people, they're like, oh gosh, Mitch, giveaways suck. And they have their reasons. And so what I have to do is to teach them why giveaways are good if you have the right offer and this and that and la-di-da. And people were just, it's harder to deal. So then I became I had a brand name of Giveaway Rocket at the time, which went back to history and stuff. And then I was going, well, Paul Pruitt said, Mitch, you're the traffic guy. Brand yourself as the traffic guy. And I'm like, okay, going back to Mark's question about traffic. I don't want to necessarily just be the traffic guy. And simplify it. I had on May 19th at 4:30 in the afternoon, I had a conversation with Jennifer Trask, my mindset coach. And one of the things she said to me was, Mitch, you're really just talking about the thank you page, right? We're talking about what gamifying the thank you page and this and that. And I was like, it's taken me this long to really boil it down to the nutshell. And I really feel passionate about the fact that every one of you who has a funnel that's in business, whether you're trying to teach people or sell a product, you all have funnels, right? You got a sales page or you got a lead magnet opt-in page. You all have the next page in the funnel. That next page is called a thank you page. Some of you heard me tell the story before. I was calling it the share page because that's what my friends over at UpViral call it. Because their intention for that page is to get people to share it, right? To do the ask that I've talked about, to get people to share it with others. But nobody on the planet calls it that. And when Jennifer had this light bulb moment with me, that she said, well, you're using the wrong words, Mitch. Everybody that I know that's an entrepreneur knows what a thank you page is, and they know when you say it instantly what we're talking about. And so that's where I simplified, and I've brought everything back down to this simple messaging of what we're going to do in Thank You Page Magic is we're going to do the usual stuff that you've always done before, but we're going to do a simple ask, and that simple ask is the magic. Now, you can gamify it. You can do all kinds of crazy additional stuff on that thank you page, but you guys know what it is. You know what a thank you page is. And when I tell you all you're going to do in your thank you page is you're going to ask people to share it, you're going to go, okay, I can do that. And I can even hand you the little scripts that you can put on your page right now today, and you can do that in 5 minutes. Of course, what I'm then going to do once I get my hooks into you, which is why you're here, and thank you again for being here, I'm going to show you how to make the magic with that. The ask is simple, but we have some additional steps that we need to go through after we ask to really encourage people to do that, and there's all kinds of different things that I can help you do that with. My point of all of this is to check your processes. Take the processes, and this is like a health check, right? Come back to your business and spend the time. Doesn't have to be today. It doesn't have to be in the near future. Plan some time and plan to do it regularly, like every 5 years. No, more urgently than that. But come into your business and look at your processes. Where can you simplify? Claudia, I know, for example, Claudia is teaching. Let's go back to her title, right? If I put one of her things up here, plant-based weight loss during menopause. Highly specific. She knows her target audience. She knows the words that they're using, and she has nailed it. She is going after those people. And the key to all of this stuff that I'm talking about, when you nail it, when you simplify it, when you've boiled it down and you have this thing that you can present to people, all you then have to do is, once you get them fired up, because you know the solution, Claudia's lived through it. I know her bio. She has lived through this and she has come up with some solutions. All you gotta do is say, now that I have you, I bet you know at least one person who is suffering through the same stuff you're doing. Maybe you're in a Facebook group with other people that are going through menopause and wanting to lose weight. I bet you know maybe 2 people. And if you know 2 people and you invite them into my email list, I'll give you this thing. It's valued at $47 and blah, 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 blah. It's a simple ask. It's not hard to do. Those of you who have been through me before, you also know, you can be the thank you page and colonoscopy guy. It's for your own good. Thank you, Stephen, for that. But once you have this nailed down and you know how to ask, the only other thing to do is to remind yourself the value of the ask. If you haven't heard me preach about this, and I'm not going to go through all my magic slides right now, people who are referred are 4 times more likely to buy from you. Do I need to say anything else other than that stat? Okay, there are other stats. They are 4 times more likely to buy from you if they're referred. Okay, that one stat should be ringing your bell, should be rocking your boat, should be popping magic off the top of your head with that one stat. They also, by the way, if you compare a referred buyer to a buyer that came to you through Facebook ads or lead magnets or whatever else, a referred buyer over their lifetime will spend 26 to 35% more money with you than the person that just came in through the normal marketing. Okay, that's 2 stats for you. And if those haven't rung your bell, they need to. What do we want to do? We want to have more impact. We want to have the ability to help more people. In order to do that, and this is straight from Stu McLaren. Stu McLaren preached this to me till I was blue in the face. In order to help more people, you have to make money. If you're not making money to feed your family, then you got to go get a day job. You got to go do all the other stuff. Right? It's required for you to have money in order to serve people. They have to pay you for it. It's part of the icky colonoscopy prep, I guess, is to be able to sell to people. But you have to be able to influence people. Claudia's phrase, I got it right here, is micro-influencers. I love that phrase. That person, Betty Lou, who invites her friend Paula, Betty Lou is now a micro-influencer. She is helping you take those stats, the referred person, Paula, is 4 times more likely to buy from you. Now, you're spending a lot of time, and I'm not trying to say don't do this, but if you're advertising on Facebook, you're probably hearing people tell you to go do a custom audience because you got these people that bought from you, this pot of 100 or however many. So you add them to your custom audience, and Facebook is going to find a whole bunch of people just like that will hopefully buy from you. But what if you take those 100 people and you get them to refer somebody to you? Those people, that pot of people, is 4 times more likely to buy than those people that are coming from a Facebook ad. That stat should be blowing you away. Referred people are 4 times more likely to buy because they have that influence, that personal connection with whomever referred them. And if Betty Lou refers Paula to Claudia because Betty Lou knows that Claudia solved her problem, Paula's going to be much more likely to buy, 4 times more likely to buy, than any Facebook ad, any person that comes through any other mechanism on the planet. Even retargeting. Even Facebook lookalike audiences. Retargeting people are only 35% more likely to buy. Referred people are 4 times, 400% more likely to buy than anybody else. Well-known stats. You can go look them up on the web. If you don't believe me, go look it up on Google. So, what I'm trying to preach to you today is to take the lessons of any other process. Simplify, simplify, simplify. Do the prep work, even if the prep work is icky. Come up with the best process you can, and then once you have your entire business, your processes set up, on the thank you page, make an ask, not an ass. Make an ask of yourself. Put your focus on this, and it will bring you more highly qualified leads who are much more likely to buy. That's it. That's everything I wanted to talk about today. Mark had a question. Does anybody have any questions? Can I get any amens? Am I preaching? Let's see. Mark's question was, what other traffic sources would you recommend for your contest outside of Facebook or Instagram and all social media? Mark, are you in the US? Deborah, thank you. Deborah says amen. Thank you, Paige, Magic, and Colonoscopy Guy. It's for your own good. That was hilarious, Stephen. Absolutely hilarious. Mark, if you're still here. All right, Mark does say, yes, I'm in the U.S. Well, that's good news for you. I recommend, and I'm going to spend a couple of minutes talking about this, because it is one of my passionate topics. I recommend that you consider some of the contest websites. There are gobs of them in the United States. There are some in Canada, and it's more difficult outside the US because there aren't so many dedicated contest sites, but it's a big deal in the United States. One of my specific best wins is Sweepstakes Advantage. Sweepstakes Advantage has a $10 offer that you can get where they will promote your contest on their website, and they get hundreds of thousands of hits a month. Sorry. For $10, they will promote your campaign for the month. And you could actually submit multiple campaigns if you want to for $10. So much cheaper. Now, I'll give you an example. I did a campaign for Fujifilm. My $10 got 230 something leads for Fujifilm. We put in another $100 because they'll run it for you for longer with higher priority. And we got 640 something leads total for $110. 112 actually. Okay, second question is going to be, Mitch, I hear that those people only want a free thing and they'll never buy. That's potentially true. My answer, however, is that they do buy. I have talked to many contestors, people that do contests full-time. They primarily tell me, this is a common response from them, if I'm in the store and I'm looking at cameras, I'll use the Fuji example. If I'm looking at cameras and I registered for your Fuji camera contest and there's a Fuji and a Canon next to each other, I'm much more likely to buy the Fuji because I feel good that they gave me the chance to win one. That's a very common thing that I have heard amongst those people. Is there a large chunk of people who are only in it for the free thing and will never ever buy anything from you? Absolutely. I asked multiple people who run contests for a living about these kinds of people, and they all said to my question, well, what percentage of the people that are entering to win a contest, whether you got them from a contest site or whether you got them from a Facebook ad, what percentage of those people are only in it for the free thing? And just about unanimously, they said 20%. 20%. So the estimate, and I have no proof of this, I have never spent the time to try to dive in and prove it, but these people who are experts said that their guess was 20% of those people were throwaway trash leads. Okay, so you run a contest and you get 100 new leads and 20 of them are trash. Who doesn't want those 80 people? Are they going to buy from you? Well, that's up to you. I don't know why people suddenly expect that this group of people who raised their hand and said, I want to win a Canon, or I want to win a camera, that those aren't photography people, theoretically, and there's all kinds of things, right? Somebody who's not interested in your product is not going to raise their hand. And I'll give you the example going back to the Sweepstakes Advantage. I put the same $10 with, of course, different copy, right? Different prize in for a different client, and that client was giving away a free round-trip ticket to Bali for a meditation retreat for a specific week. Had to go that week. $10 my ad. Fuji got 230 leads. These people, $10 ad. Same audience, same group of people that saw the ad. Theoretically, it's the same website. We only had 22 people sign up for that. A $10,000 offer, a trip to Bali, round trip to a meditation retreat, got 22 leads. The other campaign for a $2,000 camera got 230 leads. You tell me that people on those websites will only enter something because it's free. Those two campaigns, to me, prove that that's not true. If I'm a contester, if I'm somebody that wants to win something, I am not going to register to win a trip to a meditation retreat in Bali if I don't want it. Yeah, I want to go to Bali, but there's this hanging over that I gotta meditate. That's not my thing. So I'm not going to register. What does Bradley always say? You gotta have an offer that people are willing to crawl through broken glass to get in order to get them into your campaign. If they're not interested in the offer, they are not going to opt in. All right. It's a big source, potential source. And by the way, there's another group of people that say, well, those people are never going to buy. Guess what? I can almost guarantee that if you're running a contest in the United States, and you are putting it out there and you are asking people to share your contest, put it on social media or wherever, I pretty much can guarantee that one of those people is a member of one of those websites and they are going to post it on that website whether you want them to or not. So you're going to be getting those people, whether you want to or not, in your campaign. Unless you do some major restriction somehow to keep those people out, which why would you do that? You want people to register because you want those people on your list so that you can nurture them, show them value, then sell them something. Oh, Stephen with a very interesting question. Could we say 1 degree of separation is worth 4 times more than 6 degrees? That's a very interesting question. I think that it's a very interesting question. I'm going to have to think more about that. The idea of 6 degrees of separation was that if I know Stephen and Stephen knows Betty and Betty knows Paula and blah, 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 we can find within 6 of those trips, those steps, we can get to any other person on the planet. I don't know if they're really the same thing. 1 degree of separation is obviously valuable, but our 1 degree of separation is to try to get somebody interested in our offer, not to get them to find somebody that knows President Obama, whatever. So, Mark, did that help you with the traffic ideas? Reddit is a big place. Depending upon whether you consider that social media, there are several contest groups there. I think the biggest source of traffic, here's the one that I highly recommend. This is an insider trick. I don't usually say this to everybody. Oh, by the way, don't forget, I do have a new membership. Claudia's in the membership. Go over to thankyouPageMagic.com/MitchMagic and come over and join me, because Probably, let's see, this is the end of, we're in August, probably in September or October, depending upon how many people I can get to join. I'm going to be locking down the membership, and I told you about the Q&A on the second Tuesday, and the this colonoscopy thing's gotten to my brain. The review show that's on the fourth Tuesday, those will be locked down, and members only will be able to attend once we have more members. Not a very expensive membership to be in, and you get some bonuses, and you get me. Mark said, yes, indeed, that helped a lot. The suggestion that I was going to give you, I had to, my brain, it really is mushy right now. By the way, I think it's very interesting that in the new prep, by the way, my daughter's was different than mine, but these people, before, my recollection before was that you could just about eat anything until the prep time started in the evening. Some people, I think, told you not to have anything, but these people have told me I can have 2 eggs for breakfast, and I can have 2 eggs for lunch. And I'm taking them up on that. But the idea is to prep the prep, right? So that you don't have a bunch of junk in your system that's got to come out. I think that's really smart. All right, so the suggestion that I was about to do, first of all, run multiple campaigns. Second of all, pay attention to the, let's say, the top 10. The people who refer the most to you. This is something I normally don't talk about publicly, but I'm going to share it with you. This is usually a members-only thing. Go talk to those 10 people, email them, and say, hey, if you don't mind, would you tell me where you have brought these people in from? Sometimes they'll tell you they were just their friends, and sometimes those people will never buy from you either, but, we got a whole topic going on there. But sometimes those people will give you the idea of where they shared it, and you now have access to a new resource. Because guess what? Those people, Claudia's people, for example, Mark, your people, I don't know who your people are, but they're probably in Facebook groups. They're probably in different communities somewhere. You can go after those people in your next campaign as well. But you gotta know where your people hang out. Go find out where those people are. All right. Anybody have any other questions before we sign off? I appreciate you. I really, really appreciate you. Please, if this has helped you in any way, shape, or form, invite people to the next one. Take a minute. Think about somebody who is in business that doesn't know about this 400% more likely to buy topic. Say, hey, did you know that if you refer somebody, they're more likely to buy, 400% more likely to buy? We need to go talk to this Mitch guy. This guy over here, he knows what he's talking about. I don't have the plaque up right now. I'm doing a little remodeling. I have over 250,000 leads in my UpViral account that I brought in for clients. They're not all mine. They're not on my list. Probably another 200,000 with clients and students and stuff in their own freaking accounts. Let's see, Mark says, thanks, Mitch. Which service do people share a lot outside of Facebook, Instagram, Messenger, WhatsApp? We've talked about this before. Guess what? Email. Now, the key is in data. You got to pay attention to your data inside your campaigns. Email is actually very popular. You got to look at the data to see it. The other one is that people copy that link and they are going to share it somewhere. That is actually more often the number one share than Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, whatever, right? Email and where people share it. So I advise you, if you don't have a way of finding out where traffic is coming in, UpViral doesn't tell you. They put a big bucket of, I don't know. But there are tools that you can grab that will show, like Google Analytics will show you where people came from. Pay attention to that data. Your people, if they're willing to share, and we got a whole lot of conversation about whether they're willing to share or not, those people are your best source. People that are doing it right now. Find out where they are. Find out where they are sharing. Pay attention to your data. All right, please share this with other people. Next Tuesday, by the way, I am starting a special class with my friend Tim. We're going to do a 3-day class. If you're struggling getting started, or if you're struggling with the question of what do I do after I have these people, we have a special class coming up. The first time we're going to teach it is next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. The idea is, on Monday, I'm going to teach you the basics of Thank You Page Magic. On Tuesday, I'm sorry, I said Monday. On Tuesday, first day, we're going to share with you Thank You Page Magic, the reasons, some of the stuff you already know. Day number 2, I'm going to hand you a campaign, and we're going to get into UpViral. We're going to see how you would customize that for your own business. And then day number 3, which will be Thursday, Tim's going to come on and do the thing of how do you sell to your list? Tim is an expert at convincing people on your list to buy from you. People come to me, they say, oh, great, you can get me people on the list and I can email my list. How do I get them to buy? So we're combining those two things into one campaign, into one teaching. And that's going to be available to you next Tuesday, starting next Tuesday, 3 days. Going to hand you a campaign. We're going to hand you some training. We're going to teach you live training. We are going to give you 14 days of follow-on assistance if you buy the VIP. So there's a VIP upgrade. That's going to be available starting next week. $297 is the price for the basics, and $397 is going to be the VIP with the hands-on and the extra stuff. Next Tuesday, I will be sending out information about that to my list. So if you're not on the list, by the way, you should be on my list. Where's my list? Newsletter sign up. There it is. Go to joinmitch.com, scan that scan code. Join me. Be on the list. Come to class next week because it's going to rock your boat. And the idea of this first time again, the people ask me all the time, well, okay, now I got people on my list. What do I do with them? That's what Tim's expertise is. Getting people to buy once you have them on your list. Great package. I'm really looking forward to it. And we're going to hand you all kinds of stuff. Going to put you in the UpViral $1 14-day trial if you don't have it. Got 14 days to consider it. Going to walk you through it. Going to hand you a campaign to start with. Anyway, let me know if you have any. I don't have the link yet. We're still working on the sales link and stuff. I will get that to you on the email list starting Friday. We're going to do the promotions. So look forward to that next week. There will be no Mitch and Bradley podcast. Deborah, I know you like to show up for that this week, because, hey, I'll be prepping. We'll say that word instead of the other P word. Tomorrow morning, I will be doing the colonoscopy. Yay! And then it'll be over. And then I got to figure out what I'm going to eat because I'll be hungry by then. Last time I did it, by the way, Side note, I had a hamburger, a Wendy's hamburger. It tasted horrible because after I was thinking it was going to taste so good. Steven says, you made a sacrifice for us today. Thanks, Mitch. Good luck tomorrow. Oh, see, once I get started, I get really wound up because I'm so passionate about this stuff. And I want all y'all to be able to take what I have learned and expand your business. This stuff is so simple to do once you know it. All right, thank you all for being here. I'm going to go take a little break, and we will catch you next Tuesday for either the live stream, which I will be here, or the class, which starts immediately after the live stream next week. And let me know if I can help you with absolutely anything. Deborah says, good luck with your colonoscopy. Take care of yourself. I am trying to learn to be better at that. All right. Thank you all for being here. We will catch you again very soon, especially on the email list. Make that comment go away.